friend, and welcome to this year's Christmas Solitaire special. Tonight, we have 4 new decks to get into, and I am pretty excited about this one. If we can open up our first deck finally. So we're going to be starting off our night with the Home for the Holidays deck. We're going to do one game with each new deck, and then decide which ones we like afterwards. Oh, that's a nice back design. Let's see how the face cards come up. Not too bad, I suppose. I thought it would be a little more festive for the face cards, but no complaints. Let's take a look at our final view and get ready to start off our night. And as we start shuffling up our new deck, please get yourself nice and comfy, my friend. Let's start off with the question. What is your favorite thing or aspect of this time of the year? Have you ever noticed Christmas songs, holiday songs? They all emphasize how this time of year only comes once a year. Next time you listen, just really look out for that. And if you think about it, that's true with any time of year. Anyway, let's kick off our night and let's see how we started off. For me, my favorite aspect of this time of year has to be the colder weather, for sure. Here it gets to the low 40s consistently. Sometimes it dips into the 30s. Let's begin with just a 3 regular flip. And I have to be honest with you. This episode almost didn't come to be. This lost episode, I should say, as that is our 3rd play. I didn't think there would be time to, and I thought, well, we do have about 3 other Christmas specials. Triple 4s, by the way. And I told myself, I enjoy this time of year so much, I want to make a special. So let's find the time to do it. It's not looking too great at the moment. A black 5 and a red jack can maybe change that, but that might be too specific to really change things up. Did we really just have 3 6s in a row right there? No, it's just a 6 6 6 6. check, as triple fours, double sixes, and double tens keep us from doing much. Now we're for that 8, 7, 2, 2, 6, or king. Let's see what our other decks have to offer before we decide which one gets more of the feature. Of course, double threes and fives already, triple threes. Just a lot of not good right there. Right, just for now, we'll put this to the side. Let's see, let's go with what I think will be a safe bet. Orbit 2021 edition. I believe it's Christmas themed, yeah. It looked too much like space from the back. Orbit. Got Santa Kris Kringle on the back. Some face cards with some festive treats or accessories. On to game number 2. Kind of a bleak Christmas deck, wouldn't you say? Very dark. So far, both of them have been pretty dark. I assume most of you celebrate Christmas. Okay, I guess I'm not tired. I swear I don't drink or do anything. But for those of you who don't, what do you celebrate? Around here, I would wish for more of a darker Christmas in the night sky. But there are so many decorations that some are nice, but the inflatables can go too far and get a little too loud. And then these kind of silly strobe lights that aren't even Christmassy everywhere. Something about a simple, darker night sky sounds very appealing to me. Ooh, that's a fun idea. What do you think for next year? We do a Christmas live stream, and you pick the decks that we use. That sounds really fun to me. I've been wanting to do something like that for a while. 777s to start this one. Looks like we're having some hard luck to start off our night. My goodness. Did we get swept? We got swept from our hand. And look at this pairing. Now we're for that 10, but we could have played that 6. Now we're for that king, and we could have played the ace. 2 again, another ace. 7, well, nothing for that too. 9. Jack. King. And an 8. 4 kings the elf deck. A very nice box. I guess this does beg the question, what is your favorite Christmas movie or holiday movie? Film. I don't know what that's referencing. I didn't really watch this one too much growing up. The deck looks really nice so far, though. So I don't really understand the characters, but it does have a nice theme. I think I know who that is, though. Professor Proton. So a 4-joker deck. Kinda. I always enjoy those. Nice backing. Nice, smooth feel out of the box. Still gotta say, favorite Christmas movies are A Miser Brothers Christmas. Oh no, it's A Year Without a Santa Claus. My bad. A Christmas Story is something consistent in Home Alone. I think those are my top 3. But growing up, it was always fun watching the Christmas specials. Like the Simpsons specials, annual Christmas episode, Family Guy kinda. That animation domination era. Drake and Josh. But they had a movie, I think, not as many Christmas episodes. One of the first Christmas movies I remember watching was Jingle All the Way. And as a kid, the only thing I remember was put that cookie down. I think something like that. And I didn't know what the movie was called for the longest time. But it's really bad. But bad movies are enjoyable. Sometimes, when they know they're kinda bad. Our best start of the night, thankfully. So we have 6, 5, 4, 3, an ace. Our king down. And let's begin. Good spacing too. We'll let that 2 of diamonds be for now. It doesn't change much at the moment. It can, but we'll play it nice and slow. Red 8, red 9, red 7, black 7, there's the red 8. There's another red 8. Alright, we have insurance cards. 7, 6. A red 7 would earn us our first fat stack of the night, which we do to our left. Speaking of fat stacks, what are your thoughts on stockings, like the best stocking stuffers? Whether you're a parent, a child, or a significant other, I think we can all agree stockings could be pretty fun. It's a little silly to me, but I still enjoy scratcher tickets because I'd never go out of the way and really buy those for myself. I'm not sure if you've heard of it or had it before, but C's Candy, same idea. Now, I wasn't too much of a fan of this myself, but I know a fair amount of people who really enjoy the candy canes filled with like Reese's Pieces and the such. Right, very interesting situation now as we wind down in our third game. All of the cards are now flipped over on our field. We are left in a relatively interesting situation. I do like the font on these cards. I will give them that for sure. I are missing the 7 of clubs. Alright. So we're gonna have to get something going. Let's go. Hearts and diamonds, I suppose. Heart. Oh, is this gonna be an issue? I hope not. I mean, spades. Spades and hearts. I think you know what I meant. Jack. Jack. And luckily, we managed to pull off our first victory of the night. A little bit of a worker, but that's not too bad. Here we go. All of these spades in order. Ace to king. With all of the clubs. Hearts. And diamonds. Victory shuffle. Take 1. Oh, we're gonna have to redo that. This deck's a little slick on the edges, so it's a little bit chunky. So it might not be our and maybe the Deck the Halls deck. Let's see what's within this one, as it's quite the thick one. And it has this texture to it. All across, or all around. Even a kind of a velvety box. Oh, whoa. That's unexpected. There's a nice shine on these cards. They shimmer. Okay, now things just got a little bit interesting. A nice thick font. That pattern from the box transfers to the design. I'm liking it. The box had me a little bit worried, but we have ourselves a pretty solid deck. It's a hefty box too, by the way. Well, now that you've seen all of the decks, which one's your favorite? We haven't played with it yet, but if we had this backing with like if this didn't have just green and red, I think it might be a little bit better, but we'll see. So it's currently tied between this deck and the elf deck. Oh, that's what I was gonna say before we got our victory. Another Christmas movie I didn't really watch, but apparently a lot of people like it, and I just didn't really watch it until recently. But The Polar Express. Watching that now, that movie is quite screwed up, depending how you look at it. And boy, that kid with the glasses is annoying as anything. Yeah. Okay, now it's looking a little bit better. I think this is reminding me of our Christmas story deck, and that's why I was a little bit rough at first, but now, with that aside, not too bad. I would add like a border around each card that's the same color to make it a little softer on the eyes. But let's begin our fourth attempt. The back of the card obviously reminds me of gift wrap, but also a rug. Does anybody have a Christmas rug? I've never heard of it, but I'm pretty sure it's a thing, because it seems like such a no-brainer. Ooh, nice little surprise there. If we can get to it. knowing that. Lucky to place that king. Oh, wow. Each time we missed that double ace. We got lucky with that too. But how lucky did we get? As there's nowhere for that 8 and nowhere for that jack. The furthest we can build is just that 3 of diamonds without any black 2s. Oh, just stepped on a deck. I was so confused for a second. Wow. Well, that's the end of this one. We're definitely coming back to this deck. So let's see the final 15 cards left beneath that kept us from a couple fat stacks and potentially our second win of the night. Triple nines. And that's it, surprisingly. Alright, so I think it's safe to say that we're gonna stick with this deck as well as the elf deck, green and red heavy. This year, I suppose, so we're gonna go back to the elf deck, put this one as we wrap it up later when we come back to it. But first, let's make things a little bit brighter in here. There we go. Get our cards back. Alright, we're gonna just talk all night tonight. Hope you're cool with that. What were your favorite decorations growing up as a kid? And what are they now? My family was never too decorative outside of the house during the holidays. But during Christmas time, we used to have like a snowman about 5 feet tall. But that was about it for the outside. Of course, I think it was like those egg bulbs, green and the rainbow Christmas colors that border the gutters. And that was our decoration for the outside. But on the inside, my mother, typically, she was the one who loved to decorate. Or who decorated, I should say. She would have these large, almost disco ball type bowls. You know what? This red really complements the deck, don't you say? And she would hang them at the entrance with ribbon and garland to the house. And it was more of a silver and gold decoration in the house, when I would have preferred more of the colorful rainbow, bright Christmas colors. And one thing I always wanted was to have candy canes, like, I guess, fencing around the house. Even if they're like the cheapest ones you could find. Candy canes always look very nice and just lifted my mood. But now, I think I enjoy more of those crystal that's about it. I just enjoy most things. The only thing that's kind of iffy are the inflatables. Something I do enjoy too, growing up. I think we all know that neighbor who would go all the way with their decorations, triple jacks. Whether it's in the block or the neighborhood. And in my neighborhood there were two. And those two, diagonal from where I lived and behind where I lived. So there'd be a full light display to enjoy whenever looking outside. And when you think about it, it's a lot of work to do that just for about a month of the year. That only comes once a year. So as I grew older, I appreciated the nuances of that. A lot of doubles here. Nowhere for that 5. There is somewhere for that 10. But double kings, double sixes will make that triples eventually. Five, 2, king, 7, 4, and we keep ourselves fighting. 5, 2, king, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, another 7. Blast. Our black 6s are nowhere to be found. And now I think we are done with this game. It's officially again nowhere for that 5, 2, king, queen, 5, and 8. Damn. Triple jacks on the field, and we have at least one triplet waiting for us beneath. Let's find out what else lurks. Just the triple aces. Alright, holiday traditions. Growing up, very small family, still small. And in the morning times, we would have our gift openings on Christmas. Nothing Christmas Eve, just Christmas morning. With the siblings and my parents. I always laugh at how I describe my family, because it sounds like it's so distanced. Yes, my mother and my father, and the other siblings. It's just silly to me. And that would usually start anywhere from 8 to 11 a.m. From that point, around 3 p.m., we would go over to my grandmother's house for dinner. And that would have, pretty much without fail, one of the 3 or 2 of the 3 following meat dishes. showed up. That was kind of the thing, I suppose. She would do everything from scratch, from the dough to the pie crusts. Fresh from scratch cookies, pie fillings, and it was just so enjoyable. Of course, when she got older, she couldn't maintain that work, but she would make me specifically cookies all the time, knowing that they were one of my favorite things that she made. And I guess they're shortbread, butter cookies, something along those lines. But she'd make these really thin cookies, probably about that thick at the thinnest, maybe. But that at its thickest. And she would just throw in some sprinkles and whatever she did, probably butter. And not too sweet. That's something I didn't like, was too much sweetness. And she would probably make like 200 of those and give us, in quotes, me, about 50 to take home. That was a nice thing to look forward to as a kid. And I think it was sweet potato pie. I wasn't too much of a fan at the time. And lemon, graham cracker crust, pudding pie, and sometimes cheesecake. But I think more often at that point it was cheesecake. And the sides were green beans gravy. No one cared for the bread, so we didn't really have that. The meat was always the focus. We had like cheap rolls, I think, like the Hawaiian ones at the time. I feel like I'm still missing some stuff, but I think you got the idea. So what do you do? What have you done? What's changed? What do you remember? I always love learning more about you. It just makes it more fun as we go through our journey. Strengthen our connections. And as such, as it looks like that is the end to this game. Just short of another fat stack by a red 9 and a black jack. As there's nowhere for the 5, 10, 8, or 7, double 8s, 10s, kings on the field. With those 2s. But still nowhere for those 4. Let's move on to our last game with this deck. Before we get back to our other, I wonder how it's going to look in this new light. Oh, that's a fun one. What traditions have you started? Or do you want to start? Obviously, I don't have kids yet, but I look forward to that a lot. And I always picture myself having daughters before a son. No complaints. I try not to think about anything specific besides just my child. But whenever the thought goes into greater detail, it's more often a daughter. certain elements very special and memorable and meaningful, not just for themselves, but wanting to share meaning with others and getting enjoyment from others' enjoyment. When I was younger, probably pre-7 years old, I was a bit of a stinker, how I view it. More self-centered, I guess, as most younger children are. But after a certain point, it's like I'm just using Christmas time for an example. It was much more enjoyable to give and see than to get. And yeah. And it's just been that way ever since. It feels so much better to give than to get. And I hope that trait is strong in my children. Hopefully, I think I get to that point, I should say. Alright, rough looking start. If we get ourselves a red 4 and the king, maybe we could make this a strong fight. There is a black king, but we must restrain as much as I do not want to. I'm thinking we should leave that too, just in case there is a red king perfect. That saves us hoping for the one in our hand. But I also think about the traditions. I don't want to come off too strong out of the gate. I would like for there to be a crescendo of enjoyment and finding things to enjoy. It's like it's fun playing Monopoly, but if you have $10,000 to start when everyone else is 200, it's not as enjoyable when you win, type of thing. And I think this game reflects that sentiment quite a bit. So even if things could be grander, I would like to restrain, because at 3 years old, you'll be excited by a sprinkled donut just as much as, let's say, an iPhone or whatever. I know, a terrible example. I didn't let go. My thumb stayed on. I think for myself around the age of, let's see, 5 years old, 4 to 5 years old, I knew the value in certain gifts, and I liked going for higher value, like a stinker. And despite a great start, it looks like there's nowhere for that 10. There is somewhere for that 4 and that 10. But still, nowhere for that red 10. Nowhere for that 6, but there is somewhere for that 5. Wow. Despite all of that, we still can't go any further. Because the triple threes, no red 2s. That's solitaire for you. Let's clean it up and move on to our final deck of the night. Deck the Hulls deck. Once again, 10 left beneath. such a fat deck. Like, seriously, I'll drop this softly. That's a thump. A thumper of the deck. Alright, what's something else I could share? I think over the past 10 years or so, I've been shopping earlier and earlier for Christmas because I like thinking of somebody, finding something for them that seems perfect, and just, there you go. Sometimes just give a gift to give a gift. Or just wait for that moment because it would be perfect for that time. So usually I would start in like early November when I was about 10 years ago. And then it would start in September, then early summertime, then March. I think it was last year, no, 2 years ago, where I started in January. And then last year it was the minute after Christmas ended. So the 26th. And I'm already shopping for stuff for next year. Not really shopping, I guess, or having that in thoughts. And isn't that kind of ridiculous? I think it's cool. Because some things I like to make a medley of a gift. Like crackers are nice, but throw in some cheese and meat, then you're having a fun time. And some things are worth waiting for. And that's what I like to do. Gosh, again, another thing learned through this solitaire journey. This is a lost episode, but patience and delayed gratification, in a sense. It doesn't look as bad as I thought. I think it's a tie between this deck and the other one. But don't tell me we just got swept for the second time of the night. I hope I misspread that. Nowhere for that 4. Queen. Jack. 3. 6. Jack. 5. And lastly, 9. We got swept twice. Let's just see. Oh, that's an interesting question. Mildly interesting to me, Triple Kings. Have you ever had your phone number in the deck? Whether it's 767, 94, 310, same number. So it does exclude a fair amount right there. I know for 90% sure that my phone number has been in this. When I got my phone number, I thought it was a fake phone number. I always had a tough time memorizing phone numbers, like friend phone numbers, back when you had to. But when I got mine, I thought, oh, it's perfect, no one will forget that. And true, that statement stays. Okay, that is a pretty decent start. We for sure get the aces out of the way. We have some spacing. Lots of potential. Don't you dare. We have a backup card. Thank you. Alright, black 8. Triple fives plaguing our field. Black 7. And that 2 had to be the 2 for the only ace not on the field. And we're gonna have to rely on our lone 2. There we go. 2, 4, and jack. And I think we're done. Once again, nowhere for that 3. Nowhere for that 6. King. King. 9. Or 9. That is... Oh, wait a second. I'm stupid. Thank goodness I'm stupid. 3. Thank you. Someone was yelling, and I picked up on it. So we just gotta go through this real quick. Alright, let's see what we've got now. Red 4. Come on. Not what I wanted to see there. At all. 2. 2. Black 4. I think we only delayed the inevitable, as there's nowhere for that 6. Jack. King. 4. Or 9. No black 3 to play. We're gonna give this one more shot. We're not ending on that. But if this deck decides to be a little bit stinky another time, we'd have to call it. Alright, there has to be something interesting in here. favorite type of wrapping paper. Looking at this, I think that's nice. And then I remember as a kid, all of the shiny papers were my favorite. Then for a while, all of the reds, then all of the blues, greens. It's as if every year, the mood changed for which I preferred. I just like more of a traditional pattern. I don't like large pictures. And kind of the same idea with cards. If you could flip it any direction and it works, then that's a huge plus. That's rough. Alright, we're gonna need a miracle on this one to do anything. Wow. Some of the worst luck in these few games here. I told you it's gonna be a lot of luck to pull us out of this one. Nowhere for that 6. Nowhere for that 4. Thankfully, that 3 has a home. And that home brings out his king, their king. Alright. That's okay. Not fantastic. Triple 8s. Oh, have we been blessed tonight with some interesting pulls. I don't know if we have another one earlier, but I'm not gonna chance it. Another king. Can we manifest a miracle? That 6 is a pain in the butt, too. 7. Alright, I think we're gonna have to play that 6. But we need a black 7. But 1 is occupied. Is this the end? I think we have reached the end, my friend. Nowhere for that 6. Nowhere for that 4. 6 once again. 5. 3 and queen. Just a tough night, but a fun one. Let's clean it up and see the final field. I don't see any triplets. Yeah, just a special kind of messed up, I suppose. Well, my friend, despite the results, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed. You know I did. Time to put this deck back in its box and bring out the others from tonight. Obviously, the elf deck. Let's clean it up real quick. Deck the halls. Elf. Please have yourself a relaxing remainder of your night. Many sweet dreams when you do. Happy holidays. Until we meet again. Stay safe and eat your fruits and vegetables.